All right, good morning. I'm Aaron Heiser of Maker's Leather Supply, and in this video, we're going to learn how to tie a basic Turk's head knot. So, I'm going to teach you the same way I finally was able to learn how, and hopefully it'll stick with you as well as it stuck with me. I tried lots of other ways. I tried to learn a lot of other ways, and none of them worked out for me. But once someone, a fellow named Robert Black, taught me this way, it stuck finally, and then I can tie all kinds of crazy knots now. So anyway, let's get to it. All right, so here we go. We're going to learn how to tie a basic Turk's head knot. All right, now I did a beta testing video the other day and sent out to a couple of people to see if it could show them how to tie this. But this is a very simple Turk's head knot, okay? It is a 5-part 6-bite knot. All right, now let me explain what that means. Let me find my little lace and fit here. So the bites of a Turk's head knot, let me get this thing to focus, are these little scallops that you see on the edges. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then the parts are, if you drew a line straight across this bad boy, how many laces do you see? And again, this one is a, I believe, five part 6-bite Turk's head, and that's what we're going to show you in this video. In a future video, we will show you this and then an interweave into it called a herringbone interweave, which you can add a different color or something like that, and it totally changes the size as well as the appearance of it. Okay, now this one has the herringbone interweave, but it was a bigger knot. It was a 8-bite knot to begin with. So, yeah, but we're going to start here and work our way up. All right, this goes in layers of learning. So we'll start with something simple, and then once we've learned that, honestly, you can do any size Turk's head you can imagine. You just have to keep adding bites to it. Okay, so we have our piece of lace that we prepped in the last video. Okay, we beveled it and we ran it through the saddle soap. We got it ready. Now the very first thing I need to do is put my lacing needle on it. Okay, so this is just a 2-prong lacing needle. We take and spread the pieces to it, and it's very hard to do when I'm watching a camera screen and not my hands. There we go. Get it in there, and then we want to squeeze that down to get the prongs to pierce the lace. Okay, and that's going to hold it really nice and still for us. Now we're going to come all the way over here to the other end of it. I'm going to take one of my little pins here, okay, and this is all we, if you watched our video on what tools you would need in our kit for this, you'll see all this stuff. But anyway, I'll take one of my little sewing pins, and I'm just going to stick it through the lace on the other end, about 1.5 inches or so from the end. And then I'm going to press that into my little piece of insulation, just like that, okay? And I'll tell you what, I'm going to scoot it down a little bit more just so I have some room to hold this dang thing. Now, this is now called my standing end. The end that I put my needle on is called my working end, okay? It's a standing end because it's not going anywhere. It's a working end because it's going to go all the way around this mandrel quite a few times, all right? And we'll call this a mandrel for now, even though it's just a piece of styrofoam, okay? Now, we have done that. Now we've got 2 basic rules we're going to follow. One of them is every time I rotate this, I'm going to rotate it toward me. Okay, this is my left hand. I'm going to rotate it toward me. The other rule is I'm always going to hold my standing end of it in my left hand. Till we're done tying it, we're going to always hold this in my left hand. That way we don't get confused. And we're always going to rotate it towards us when we go to rotate it. Okay? Basic rules. Easy to follow, right? We can do this. I believe in you. All right, so there's where we started. We've got 1 pin in it. What we're going to do is we're going to turn this thing 180 degrees. So we're going to turn it halfway. Now that pin is facing down, and we're going to take another pin And about 1.5 inches away from the first pin, we're going to put it in the opposite end. Okay, so now the first pin's facing down, second pin's facing up. Now we're just going to take our lace and we're going to wrap it around that pin, and then we're going to go back to the other side again. Okay, now every time we turn this mandrel, we're pretty much turning it a whole 180 degrees again. Depending on the size of knot you're doing, you might turn it more or less. When we're done, this is going to have 6 bites. Each of these pins is going to help hold these bites, okay? And again, this is how I learned, and it was so much easier than trying to hold that thing in my hand while I tied it. Yeah, so there's our first bite right there. It's hard to recognize, but that's it. So we're going to turn it again, rolling it towards us, keeping our lace to where the finished side is facing up, and we're going to go across our original, our standing end, okay? And then we're going to take and put another pin in it, right beside the first pin, just like that. Now make sure you're not putting these pins in so deep that they're going out the other side, or else you're going to have a very prickly mess to mess with, and you don't want that, okay? Now, we're going to wrap that lace around that one, turn it towards us. We're going to go just past that second pin, that first bite that we had created, and we're going to put another pin in it. Okay, now I've said already we're doing 6 bites. So what you have to imagine is the spacing on these pins. We're going to need 6 of them all the way around it. All right, so think of the hands on a clock. The first one ended up being 12 o'clock, so the second one should be about 2 o'clock. All right, nothing worse than getting to the end and realizing you don't have room for more pins. All right, so once again, we're going to wrap it right around it, and we're going to go to the other side. Now here's where we start to have fun. Now, what you have to look at is, what did you do the last time you came around this? Okay, the last time I came around this, I went over my standing end. Okay, this one goes over that one. So this one needs to do the opposite. I'm going to hold it down here with my pinky so it doesn't come loose. Okay, and I've grabbed my needle. Now, the last one went over, so this one needs to go under my standing end. Just like that. And then I'm going to pull it out. Or pull it through, sorry, not out. There it is. All right, now, guess what? Time for a pin. Check that out. Now, once again, we'll wrap it around the pin, and we're going to continue following, and from now on, it's just a pattern, and we're going to do the opposite of what we did the last time. So as we come around again, we look. The last time we went over that one, so this time we're going to go under that one. Again, my working end is always going to be down here on my left side. Or sorry, my standing end is always going to be over here on my left side. I traded hands so I could use the needle with my left hand, but I didn't turn it around. That's the biggest takeaway here. Okay, so we've done that. Now it's time to stick another pin in it. And in just a minute, you're going to start to see a knot, and you're going to be like, holy crap, I did that. All right, here we go. We got another pin. We're going to wrap it around it. We're going to rotate it towards us. Now, this time we're following that last one, but we're doing opposite of what it did. It went under this first one, but over this second one here. So this time we're going to go over the first one, under the second one, and then we'll go over the third one here. Okay? Just like that. Now, once again, stick a pin in it. This is now our third bite on this end. So we're going to wrap it towards us. I'll grab my needle here. Okay, once again, we went under this one and then over this one. So we're going to do the opposite. We're going to go over the first one. We're going to go under the second one. There we go. Now it's time to stick a pin in it. Who'd have thought? There we go. Let me straighten that pin out a little bit. Again, I'm watching a tiny, tiny little screen on my camera. I'm not watching what's actually in my hands. All right, here we go. Back down again. This time we're crossing even more of them, because every time we wrap it around, we're creating another. So we went over this one, so now we'll go under it. Then we went under that one last time, so now we'll go over it. And then that last one we had gone over, so we're going to go under. Oops, sorry, I went out of focus. Okay, so the old one went over, under, over, so the new one goes under, over, under. And we're going to pull that through. We're getting close to being done already. Now, rotating it toward us a little bit more. Another pin. We'll wrap that working end around that pin. Now on to the next one. Okay, here we went under, or over, so we're going to go under now, then over, then under again. There we go. Getting close. There's the beginning. All right, we're doing our fifth lead now, or sorry, fifth bite. So there's another pin. Now we're going to go around that pin. We're going to look at what we did last time, and I'm going to take and just scoot this one down a little bit because I need room. Okay. Last time we went under, over, under. So this time we're going to go over, under, over, and then under again. Just like that. My lace is getting a lot shorter too. There we go. And the problem with this is I don't think you can splice a piece of lace in a knot because you got to tie this stuff, pull this stuff real tight, and it's not going to allow it. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is our fifth bite on this side. All right, so this is going to be the last time we go around, starting over here. All right, so here we are. Our last one went under, then over, then under. So this time we're going to go over, then under, then over, then under. Just like that. Look at this. This is getting awesome, right? All right. Now, here we go with another pin. Now, here's where it can get a little bit confusing, but not if you just pay attention. Okay? So here's a bite right here, and last time we went over it, so we're going to go under it this time. Okay, that one is easy to miss because you think, well, that's a bite, that's different. But it's not. You're just following your pattern. So go under it, over the next one, under the next one. I'm going to go ahead and pull it through because it's getting hard to do it all in one whack here. All right, we'll rotate it toward us a little bit more. We went under this one, so now we'll go over it, and then we'll go under the next one. All right, now I want to make sure that my lace stays finished side up. Boom. All right, so here it is. Now what we're going to do is the working end is going to create this last bite right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pin out. That was my very first pin that held the working or the standing end still. And I'm going to take my working end and I'm going to lay it right on top of it. Okay, it's going to fall off, I'm sorry, but I want it right on top of it, okay, because to have this seamless where there's no beginning and no end, it needs to overlap. Now, I can worry about this more when I go to tighten it in a minute, but I want to show you what that would look like, so I'm going to do it. There, all right, so it's laying right on top of my standing end, and you can go ahead and send it over under the next one as well if you like. I normally don't. But there's where we're at, folks. You have tied a Turk's head. Congratulations. I hope yours was successful. But guess what? Now the hard work starts. We have to tighten it. Okay? The easy part's tying it. Tightening it is where the time and the skill comes into it. All right? So don't be scared. It's not hard. It's just something that needs practice. So I'm going to take a quick break, drink some coffee, and when I come back, we're going to pick up this exact same piece and we're going to start tightening it. All right, as promised, I didn't touch or move or change anything. I just set it down, picked up my coffee cup, and then I went and got my favorite awl because I really like this one. And I was super proud of this knot that I tied on it a long time ago. I say a long time ago, it wasn't that long ago. Anyway, this awl was made by Ron's Tools. I don't know if they make them anymore. I've had this one for several years, but I like it. And anyway, we're going to be using the FID a lot for all this tightening. Okay, so first thing we need to do is take all these pins out. This knot now will hold itself. Everything is interlocked with something else and stuff like that. So it's not like it's just going to fall apart when I pull all these pins out. Okay, now I would say that. That's if we did it correctly. So if you start pulling those pins out and all of a sudden your knot falls apart, hit rewind, okay? Start over again. Now, again, I've got my standing end and my working end, and they need to stay on top of each other, but they're not going to through this process. Not a big deal until we get to our final, when it's getting really tight. That's when we'll make sure that those are laying on top of each other, okay? Now, I'm going to do my first tightening. This is going to be tightened in steps, okay? If you just go and try to yank on it and tighten it all at once, it's going to get real lopsided and weird on you, okay? So I'm going to tighten it in stages. I'll tighten it once, going all the way around, then I'll tighten it again, then I'll tighten it again until I'm happy with it. But my first tightening is going to be right here on this little foam mandrel. So what I'm going to do is I always start with the bite that goes over the standing and working end. So this one right here. Okay, and I'm just going to stick my little FID under there and I'm going to pull some slack out. Okay, that'll look like that. We got a little bit of a loop, big loop there. Now I turn it towards me, always turning it towards me, especially when you're tightening. If you start flipping it over and turning it away from you and all that, you might lose where you're at on the tightening, and then next thing you know, you're actually loosening. You don't want that. All right, and I'm going to take my FID and I'm going to follow that strand down to its next bite down here. And then I'm going to pull that slack out down there. And then I'm going to turn it toward me. I'm going to follow that same strand up, and here we are again. And see, this is the first one. It's already tighter than the others. Okay, I'm going to pull on that second one and pull that slack out of it. All right, keep rotating, keep pulling, going on to the next bite down here. All right, and look how much we've got, a lot of slack coming out of it now. Keep rotating. Okay, that same piece goes all the way up to here. So we're gonna take, pull that slack. Rotate it again. That piece goes all the way down to here. Pull that slack. Take and rotate, and now it looks real funny, doesn't it? Because half of it's tightened a little bit and the other half is just loose. And then here's my working end just getting wrapped around it. No big deal. All right. So I'm going to keep rotating all the way up. All right, there's the next bite that we need to pull. Right there. Keep rotating. Next bite we need to pull is down here. We're getting close, guys. And then once I've got this with its first tightening, it'll look like a knot again. All right, following it up to here. There we go. And then now I'm back at my, no, I'm not, sorry. I have one more round to go. All right, down to the bottom. Back up to the top. Now this is the working end right here. So once again, I want to kind of work my working end, work my working end up over my standing end, and then take the slack out right there. I'll just do it after there we go. So that is one tightening right there. All right, so now you can start to see, hey, this is a knot. It looks kind of cool. All right, so we're going to do that a couple more times though, and we're gonna get it good and tight. All right, I'm trying to think of what I have on my desk here to tighten this around. It's gonna end up being kind of a small knot. Again, this is the exact same knot after it's been tightened. Whoop. So, see the size difference? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off this mandrel though, because if I tighten it more on this one, it's just gonna get stuck on the mandrel. All right, now, see, look, it's hollow. It's pretty, it's coming along. I'll tell you what, I did the other one on a Sharpie marker in my little beta testing video and it worked out, so I'm just gonna do that again. Okay, so we're gonna go through the exact same, look, my working end is still on my left, or sorry, my standing end is still on my left, okay? I'm gonna go through all that process one more again. I'm gonna start with the bite that goes over the standing and working end here. I'm gonna pull some slack out of it, okay? And then I'm gonna rotate it over. I'm gonna find that other end of that same piece and pull that slack down there. Now, once we get to the third tightening, we're not gonna be able to go all the way from here to pull the slack out. We're gonna have to pull some in the middle too, because it's getting too tight. Okay, you'll see what I mean in a minute. Rotate it towards me, and there's the next bite right there. Rotate it toward me. There's the next bite right there. Okay, and I'm going a little bit faster, but I think you've got the idea by now. If not, rewind. So there's that standing end and working end trying to separate again. And it looks funny right there. It's the only spot in the knot that's not an over-under. Anyway, I'm not worried about it just yet. Not until this thing gets tighter. Okay, pull tight, rotate around, go to the top, pull tight, rotate around, go to the other end, pull tight. Almost there already. Goes a little bit quicker, doesn't it? All right, there we go. Once again, we have done a tightening. Okay, that was tightening number 2. Get those on top of each other like they ought to be. There we go. All right, guess what? We have to tighten it again. All right. So you see where that big scallop is right there? It looks loose compared to all the others. That's actually my standing end up here. That's that very first bite from it. So if I just pull my standing end back a little, tightens it right down. Okay? All right, we're gonna do it again. Here we go, starting up. We're gonna start with the bite that goes over the standing end. Okay? Pull a little bit of slack out of it. Rotate it around. And I think we can still pull a full bite at a time for now. But you'll feel it when it starts to give you a lot of resistance or you can't tell which strand is going across. That's when you need to start pulling at the halfway point too. Okay. Rotating toward me. Now, again, I'm doing this on a Sharpie marker, and this knot is going to end up just being, you know, a demo. But we could be putting this over a lanyard or something like that, and you would want to build up a bit of a core underneath it. We'll show that in a later video when we do our interweaves and stuff like that and actually build something like this. you want to build up something underneath it so that the edges round over and have something to go around and have that nice big ball-shaped appearance. Okay? All right. I digress. Keep on a-tightening. Same manner as we have before. Now it's getting tight. I can feel it pull. It's giving me some resistance. So I'm going to start pulling. Instead of going all the way up to that next bite, I'm going to go down here and pull it about here. And that'll help me to not have so much resistance when I do my tightening. Okay, now I go up to that bite, pull again, go down here, follow it down, there it is. Go down to that bite, pull tight. All right, that was our third tightening, right? Third, I think. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, though, is I'm going to make sure that my standing and working ends are directly on top of each other. Just work it around. That's what that little fit is for, is to help you work all this stuff around. Now, I am not going to tighten this knot again, but I am going to clean it up a little bit. As soon as I get that silly standing end under that working end, it's just not wanting to go right there. There we go. Okay. Do that. Then I'll pull this one tight. Okay. Now I'm also going to pull on my standing end a little bit to pull that slack out of that bottom bite down there. Now, we do have a few inconsistencies here where like the lace has tried to kind of fold over where it goes under another part there. And you can take your fid and just smooth that out a little bit and work it a little bit and pretty it up a little bit. Okay. The other thing you can do is we're going to go ahead and cut these strands first. But I'm just going to check it all. It's a little bit lopsided, but again, I'm watching a tiny little screen and not a knot. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. All right, I've got to find my scalpel. Hopefully this one's got a nice sharp blade. Now, if you've watched my hand sewing videos, when I say a braider taught me how to cut the strands, this is exactly what I'm talking about right here. Okay. Now, when you cut this, cutting this one's not that bad, the standing end, but the working end, you're going to cut it right there, and it's on top of the knot, and you don't want to screw that up. Okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and lay. I'm going to go all the way down to the desk for this. Let me zoom in on it. I need to be able to set this down. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to take and just put the blade on the lace. Then I'm going to wiggle the lace back and forth and it'll cut off, okay? And by not having a sawing motion with my blade, I didn't accidentally cut my knot, okay? I'm going to do the exact same thing over here with my working end. Just a little bit of wiggle time. There we go. Cut it off. Check that out. Now, I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to use it to kind of square up the ends of my knot here. Like that. And then I also can roll this knot. So let me grab a ruler right quick and I'll show you rolling the knot. The only ruler I have sitting here is really long, 36 inches long. But anyway, I'll take this ruler. You could use a board, something like that. I'm going to take the cap off this marker because I need to be able to roll the marker, and the clip on the cap is not going to allow that. Okay, so I'm going to take and I'm just going to roll that under there. And look how much more nice and even it came out now that I've done that. So there it is, folks. You have tied your first Turk's head knot, and then you even tightened it up. And what do you know? Looks pretty good, doesn't it? In the next video, we're going to we're going to do the herringbone interweave, which is, again, where you can add another color and add some roundness. The herringbone helps it be really round. And then I'll show you how we will build up a core underneath it so that when we tighten it, it'll have a nice, more rounded type appearance. Okay? So, until then, I'm Aaron Heiser of Maker's Leather Supply. Hope you learned something.